Hi, my name is Zach Simmons, and this is Pro Football Today. This week, I want to take a look at the XFL, Week 1 of the XFL. So, I mentioned last week that I'm a little skeptical, at least coming into the year, coming into the season. I said it's going to take a couple weeks for these guys to learn how to play with each other and learn how to play under these coaches. In the Alliance of American Football, it took the teams about 4 to 5 weeks to really get good football going. Otherwise, it was mediocre at best. It really wasn't good football. Offenses couldn't figure out how to run. Defenses looked okay, but offenses couldn't figure out how to do anything. They were trying to figure out who the starting quarterback is going to be and stuff like that. And I mentioned the XFL is probably going to take the same thing. After all, these guys, I mean, they haven't played with these coaches before, at least for most of them, and most of these players have never played with each other before. So you have to learn the scheme. You have to build chemistry with the other players. I didn't really see any issues in the XFL this week. I was shocked. I thought, coming into it, I'm not going to see good football. It's going to be okay football, but I just have to get myself through it. It's going to be a few weeks for these guys to get going. It doesn't mean that the league's going to be awful. It just means it's going to take some time. I didn't really see that. There's a couple teams that really need to work. Tampa Bay doesn't really have a quarterback at this point, so they're trying to figure out what's going on with there. Otherwise, I mean, the team is great when it comes to being able to get into the red zone, but they can't capitalize. And there's too many turnovers in the red zone. Seattle, I thought, it took them about a quarter to get going. But after that quarter, they really started picking up speed. I was greatly surprised with how good these teams actually looked. They looked prepared. They looked ready to go. It looked like professional football. There really wasn't one time while watching the last American football, which I loved. I loved watching it. It was football to watch, but there wasn't one time that I'm thinking, yes, this is professional football. It looked like a little league version of football. It didn't even look like a minor league football. It looked amateur. But the XFL, I mean, they got a lot of things going for them. They made sure that they scouted players. They made sure the players had time to work with each other. One of the biggest things I loved, the broadcasters seemed ready. The broadcast team, the channels, they looked ready. That the AAF, there were some problems. There were some tech problems. I think it was built more for streaming. It wasn't really built for TV. XFL, that's not really the case. I thought Fox, ESPN, ABC all did a fantastic job. The broadcasters were great. The problem with the last American football, they had guys who really were not broadcasters. So there was no excitement or anything. There wasn't really a dialogue. It was mainly just silent. And fans-wise, you didn't really hear the fans in the AAF. You're seeing a lot more of the XFL. I thought it was pretty obvious that they had more ticket sales than the AAF. Right now, the XFL has more ticket sales through week 1, and I believe that's still kind of season tickets, than the AAF did the entire 8 weeks that existed. The XFL is doing a very good job. Very good job. The AAF proved that there is a legitimate that spring football is a legitimate thing. There's a want. There's a demand for spring football, and the XFL capitalized on it. I thought they did a fantastic job. This is just week 1. That's the thing. I have to remind myself that these guys really haven't really started playing with each other yet. They're still building chemistry. They're still learning the schemes, but yet they're still playing great. I'm very surprised. In a few weeks, you might be seeing legitimate professional football. It's going to be great. But I want to talk about a couple of teams that really surprised me, a couple of teams that really let me down. Dallas definitely let me down. Given Landry Jones wasn't starting. I get that. My big thing about Dallas is Landry Jones. Landry Jones is the one quarterback of all these quarterbacks that have had experience and success under their head coach. He was with Bob Stoops in college. But Jones is out. Offense really couldn't get anything going. Defense wasn't terrible. But Dallas really let me down. I was hoping for more. I was hoping to become a Dallas fan going into the season. That didn't really happen, I don't think. Tampa also surprised. They let me down as well. I thought Tampa was going to be a pretty good team. They look good. They actually look good until they get to the red zone. There's a few picks in there. Aaron Murray was a little bit off his game. I mean, he was doing pretty decent until he got to the red zone. Threw a couple red zone interceptions. He is out for week 2. So we'll see exactly what happens with the quarterback spot this next week. There is a chance Quinn Flowers might be seeing a little bit more attempts when it comes to passing. He's kind of their Taysom Hill, their change of pace guy. He'll come in, establish a run, and then Murray will come in. I will not be surprised if you see Quinn Flowers actually pass the ball now. Once he starts passing the ball, I think you're going to be seeing some different things there. But Tampa, they have a shot. They can do it, but man, they did not look good. They had chances to at least tie the game, but only finished with 3 points, going to capitalize on a field goal. But the one team that shocked me, DC, I knew DC was going to be good. Seattle kind of surprised me a little bit. DC, best defense around. They look good. I knew they would. But Houston looked phenomenal. P.J. Walker. I'm starting to wonder why this guy wasn't in the NFL last year. He got cut from the Colts. He got cut off the practice squad. Where in the world was he? Kudos to Andrew Luck letting the XFL know, hey, you got to check out P.J. Walker. That's kind of the talk going on right now, is that Andrew Luck gave his dad, Oliver Luck, who's the CEO and commissioner of the XFL, gave him some tips on which quarterbacks you should pick up. And what it sounds like is one of the guys he said was, you got to grab P.J. Walker. This guy's going to be fantastic in the XFL. And look at him. 4 touchdowns. I believe he's 270 yards, something like that. 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. He looked like a beast out there. I'm running all over the place. The guy needs to calm it down a little bit. I was really surprised he didn't leave hurt. He needs to not run as much, not take as many hits. But, man, he looked great. Looked fantastic. Houston, just in general, looks great. They got something gelling already. I'm definitely thinking about jumping on the Houston Roughnecks bandwagon. I mean, they look fantastic. This is a team I can easily get behind. They're going to be great this season in the XFL. But I said this before, when the AAF folded, I told you that the XFL is going to be better than the AAF. They're doing everything that the AAF didn't do, or that they did poorly at. In XFL, they're going to be strong. How long will this last? It's really hard to tell. The only reason the AAF failed was not because of ratings. It wasn't that it was being pulled. They lost their money. XFL, they have their money. They have partnerships until, I believe it's 2 or 3 years. I think it's 3 years for ABC, Fox, and ESPN. So as far as we know, XFL, they continued the ratings that they had this first week. I mean, they blew the AAF out of the water just compared to the first weeks. So if they can continue this, it'll easily be around for 3 years. A lot of people are saying maybe a 2K game. I'm not sure about that. It's going to be really, really tough to do a 2K game when you don't really know the rosters. Then there's a lot of talk about ESPN Fantasy. That's a very good possibility next year. I think ESPN just want to take a step back and see exactly what's going on. So if all your fantasy fans are a little upset that the XFL doesn't have fantasy, give it a year. If these ratings continue throughout the year, and ESPN, ABC, and Fox still support the XFL, which I think they will if the ratings are still up, ESPN should, I would say anyway, I believe that they will include XFL fantasy. I think they're just kind of taking this year, waiting to see how the ratings go, and then put their money more or heavier into the XFL. So, but if you haven't watched the XFL, you gotta watch it. It's not like watching single A baseball. These guys are talented. A lot of these guys had success in the NFL. Somehow it didn't stick. I'm talking about guys like Coney Ely, Terrence Williams, Landry Jones, guys that had a legitimate shot in the NFL, but somehow slipped through the cracks. So there is actual talent, legitimate talent in the XFL. Highly recommend you watch it. Week 2 is going to be very interesting. Not sure what's really going to happen. I'm going to stay away from predictions so far. But when it comes to Dallas, I did see Dallas being the champion. I'm not sure about that because Houston looked very good. We'll see how Landry Jones does there in Dallas. He will be starting this week, so we'll see exactly what happens in Dallas with Landry Jones in charge. But that's what I have for this week. Next week, if there's any news in the NFL, we'll cover that. But we'll also cover week 2 in the XFL. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a good rest of your night.